I'm here today with Carolyn McNabb. Carolyn and Craig have driven over 2,200 kilometres from Moama in New South Wales to come to Cloncurry to support the Sisters of the North charity ladies camp draft. So good luck if I forget to wish you good luck later. But I wanted to catch up with Carolyn today. Carolyn's a founding member of the Classic Ladies Foundation.
Yeah.
So I wanted to find out, Carolyn, how it all came about, but also to pick your brain a little bit for the Sisters of the North from your experience. So tell me how it's all started, because it's become a big institution in the horse industry now, the Classic Ladies Foundation.
Yes, it has, and we've got some wonderful followers with it. So in 2015, Mark Barton from Landmark had an inspiring moment, one of his many, as we know, with Mark, and he wanted to form a charity arm for the Classic Camp Draft and Sale at Tamworth in February. And so he busied himself to pick half a dozen to 8 ladies to get together and start doing a charity arm particularly for rural women. And the ladies that he chose are very diverse. We're from all over Australia, from far north Queensland to way down in Gippsland and Victoria. And so we only get to see each other sort of once or twice a year, but we do many phone hookups and things like that. The ladies, of course, all have a cause themselves. A lot of the girls have had problems themselves along the way, and have beaten their problems as well, which has been great. So with Mark putting us together, and also backing us at the Classic in February, this monster, which it is now since 2016 when we first ran, has been created, and it's been fabulous. And the supporters that we've got out in the rural communities, and also our camp drafting friends, have just been so supportive of the foundation. It's been wonderful.
So Carol, was there I know you said rural women in particular, but was there a particular organisation that Mark wanted to support?
No, not really. He left it to us, but in that very first year we've had 2 members. There are others, but 2 members in that particular year of our foundation that suggested 2 charities, and that was breast cancer research and also Care Flight. So Tony Hart suggested breast cancer research because she'd been touched with some breast cancer, and Care Flight was actually chosen by Gail Shan, who of course had that horrific accident some years ago, and they helped with getting her to medical assistance. So they were the 2 charities that we first started with, and then each year after that we've just we've asked people within the community who they'd like us to support, and it ends up being a charity that is just so in front of us because something has usually happened in that year to one of us or many of us in that time.
Okay, so 2 charities every year?
2 charities every year at Tamworth, and now we've actually stepped out. Warwick Show Society a couple of years ago approached Tony Hart and said, we see what wonderful work you girls do, would you like to do our charity arm? They always did some charity, but it was very, very small. So they give us their one pink day at Warwick to raise funds. We do a cap run, which always gets some great money. The first year we also did a stallion sale as well. This year we did some other bits and pieces, and so we sort of raise $8,000 to $10,000 each year for the Warwick. So the first year we did Daniel Morecambe, because of course that all happened in that area. Happens to be Daniel Morecambe Day as well. So we did him that year, and then this year, this last Warwick last October, we chose prostate cancer and did a little swing to the men, because we just found that the men, as much as we're talking about, we're all about rural women and supporting rural women, but if the girls don't help the boys, then the girls are really needed there as well. So prostate cancer was our one for Warwick then.
And Carolyn, when you have the money together, and you don't just deposit it into the account, you like to make a big thing
We do.
out of it. So how does that all...
So normally we just try and get back in touch with the charity, and we've got a lovely big Classic Ladies Foundation check on a cork flute banner,
yep.
and we'll find one of the girls somewhere out of all of us will be near either Brisbane, Sydney or Melbourne, toddle ourselves into their office and say to them, can we make our presentation? They usually give us a certificate of appreciation as well, and we have that for our brag banner, which is great.
Yeah. And so just getting back to the fundraising, the hats have become very famous and much sought after. If you don't get in early, you can end up people are pretty smart. I think now they scalp them later on.
I think they do.
Which I'm sure they give back to the cause as well. Of course they would. But so apart from the caps, which have done so well for you, what other activities have you run to raise the money?
So at Tamworth, again, Landmark back us enormously there, and Mark Barton organises a gelding for us. And this year,
he's auctioned.
Yes, that's right. So the gelding is given to us, and is auctioned, and obviously the knockdown hammer price is the price the charity gets. This year we also had some wonderful sponsorship for an embryo, and also for a flush, and we had the stallion service fee as well. So, we're just being supported so well, and I think our brand now has just got so good. People are confident in the Classic Ladies Foundation brand that they're just happy to give to us for whatever charities. We make it a very big point when the girls get together and when we look at the charities we're going to give to, that all those charities are non-profit, and that every buck we can give them goes to them, and that doesn't get swarmed up in admin fees and things like that. That's why sometimes you'll probably see that on our list of charities we've given to, there's a lot of those very big charities aren't there, because we just want to be able to give as much to the actual core bone charity. Yeah,
well, I understand that, because that was how we felt too when we were starting this out with Sisters of the North. So Carolyn, this year you brought in the Young Ambassador quest. So tell me the idea behind that, because I'm sure there was more than one idea you had with that. Yeah,
that's right. The Young Ambassador grew from a passion of Julie McNaughton, who's part of the founding foundation, that she keeps seeing rodeo queens at Warwick, flag bearing and doing all those things, and thinking, why should they be bringing out our camp drafters? It should be our own. And that young women should be being presented into the ideas of charities and things like that too, for their own being going forward in life. So it's Julie's little brainchild, and she enlisted the help of another lady, Christine Jones, who's a camp drafter as well, who's given an enormous amount of time to getting the Young Ambassadors off the ground. It was one of the opportunities where I could actually step back. I didn't have a whole lot to do with the organising of that, which was great. So we really share our jobs around.
Delegating.
But it was met by, so it was up to 25-year-old women, young women. Didn't need to have a lot of time. They didn't have to do a lot, but they needed to be community minded, obviously for the charity as well, and just be supportive of rural women again, and the charity itself, or the foundation itself. And a lovely lass from down in Victoria, in Gippsland, actually was the winner for the first year of the Young Ambassador. So this year her jobs as such is really just to make sure the awareness of the Classic Ladies Foundation's out there. She gives us a hand with, if we've got trade stands or anything like that when we're selling caps and merchandise at Tamworth or at Warwick. And just to be, mindful. It was met by some wonderful participants. The girls were just beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
I was going to say, I noticed that at the Classic this year. The quality of the girls was very high, and the lovely young girl that won, she just spoke so beautifully, and she was so grateful and gracious.
Yes.
And the other thing I noticed is that they were so helpful, because you girls, you're a small team, and I know in previous years you are just rushed off your feet at Landmark, and so I noticed those girls stepping up, and they were often on your stand, and
that's right.
So that's really great that they have that inclination to want to help.
That's right, that's right. And it's all, for us, it was all about breeding the next generation of Classic Ladies Foundation girls, I suppose. You know, we're not going to be around forever. Could be that too.
Doing that fundraising ever again.
Could well be that too.
Yeah.
But you know, it's charities are wonderful things, and they're bigger now than I've ever known them. You know, through my working career, and that there's so much more emphasis on charity these days. I think there's so many people out there that are in real need, and I don't mean that to be flippant. You know, there is just life today is so quick and so fast that there is, you know, and there's more health issues and things like that. So I think, you know, charity is extremely important, and it's important that we show the kids of today, the younger generations, that, you know, it needs to move forward, and there is a spot for it.
And how important it is to support people,
That's
other
right.
people.
That's
as
right.
Well.
Yeah.
And I know with our experience with Sisters of the North, we went into it very naively, like, you know, you just have this idea and you think, oh, we'll just go and raise this money, but holy smokes, there's a minefield.
It is a minefield. So, and that's where we started, wasn't it? At the Classic this year, actually the last 2 years, we've had just devastating effects that have happened right on Tamworth. And they're things that, of course, our foundation has backed. But so last year, if I can just refer back to that one, was, of course, young Dolly Everett. And and that was all around the Tamworth time. So emotions were enormous. And we need to stick to our Classic Ladies Foundation guns, and we had our charities picked, and we couldn't sway from those at that time. But we did a run of caps in the April or May, I think it was, for Dolly, and raise funds for that on a separate shelf there, which was great. And then, of course, this year we had the terrible floods up in North Queensland. So yourself and Clay and Peter Dowling and the Classic Ladies Foundation sort of put our heads together and thought, what can we do to help get Sisters of the North going quicker and better, quicker really, because of course you were formed for drought relief, and then this hit. So again, for the Classic Ladies Foundation, we needed to stick to our guns with our two charities and we had representatives of those charities at Tamworth this year. So we thought, no, we'll just stick with our guns and keep our charities going for Tamworth. But in the back of our mind, we were already buzzing with what we could do for Sisters of the North. And I think when we first spoke, it was really just, what can we do to try and get you as a charity registered and up and going, and where we could help you with that. And then, of course, with the girls, our girls, we were on a buzz on how we could get a fundraiser going, you know, through our foundation to help Sisters of the North. And so once you take a bit of a breath and walked away from there's a little bit of time, and as Kelly, you know, you've done, it's an enormous thing to set up a charity that's not easy, and just time consuming, and you need to be passionate to get through all those hurdles. And then, of course, there's the different layers and heights of charity you want to go to. So and now that with the Sisters of the North, with the flood relief being instead of the drought relief, I think what your group's doing is just fantastic, because you're stepping it up further, and you're actually looking at politically as well, you know, you're looking at political help and government help and things like that, because your fundraising again has been so big, and it's just been, again, it's just wonderful the way the camp draft cutting community comes together, horse community comes together, and the passion about it. It's amazing.
And I know that day, we were so grateful to you girls, you know, for backing us and supporting us, and knowing that we had you, you know, in our court, was really, really comforting, I guess, for us, but also knowing that we had that support going forward, and we could use you guys as a sounding board. And,
well, we would have loved to have been able to, you know, help you out more at that time, but as you found, though, once you started to put a program together and your hours together, it unfolds, and you get yourself registered, and
it grows,
you know, it does.
Thank you so much, Carolyn.
That's a
good
pleasure.
luck.
Thank you very much.
I hope you win the $10,000 and the pearls.
So do I.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks so much for watching our video. I hope you enjoyed it, and please try to remember to just click on the subscribe button so we can keep you updated with everything that's happening. Thank you.